Working late shifts at the downtown office meant I was always catching the last train home. Most nights, the platform was nearly empty. Just me and a handful of other exhausted commuters. I'd gotten used to the solitude, even found it peaceful. But that Tuesday night in October, something felt different from the moment I stepped onto the platform. The usual crowd wasn't there. No security guard reading his newspaper. No cleaning crew making their rounds. Just me and this overwhelming sense that I was being watched. I checked my phone 11:47 p.m. The last train was due in 8 minutes. I tried to shake off the uneasiness, telling myself I was just tired. That's when I noticed him. A man in a dark coat standing at the far end of the platform, completely still. He wasn't checking his phone, wasn't pacing like people usually do when waiting for trains. He was just standing there. And even from that distance, I could feel his eyes on me. Every instinct told me to leave, but I needed that train. The digital board flickered and went dark. No train in sight, no rumbling in the distance. I pulled out my phone to check the schedule, but I had no signal down there. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of my own breathing and the distant drip of water echoing through the tunnels. When I looked up from my phone, the man had moved closer. Much closer. He was maybe 30 feet away now, still staring, still perfectly motionless. In the harsh fluorescent light, I could see he was wearing an old-fashioned coat, the kind you'd see in movies from the 1940s. His face was pale, almost gray, and his eyes were completely black. My heart started pounding. I wanted to run, but something kept me frozen in place. Maybe it was the way he moved without making any sound, or how his breathing didn't create any visible vapor despite the cold underground air. I started backing toward the exit stairs, but they seemed impossibly far away. Finally, I heard the rumble of an approaching train. Relief washed over me as the headlight appeared in the tunnel, but as it got closer, I realized something was off. This wasn't one of the modern subway cars I was used to. This train looked old, like something from decades ago, with dim lighting and windows that seemed almost foggy. The doors opened with a hiss, and the car was completely empty. Not unusual for the last train, but combined with everything else, it felt wrong. I glanced back at the man in the coat. He was walking toward the train now, his movements fluid but somehow unnatural, like he was gliding rather than walking. I jumped into the car and found a seat near the middle, hoping to put distance between myself and whoever that man was. The doors closed, and we started moving. I tried to look out the windows, but all I could see was my own reflection staring back at me, pale and frightened in the yellow light. That's when I realized he was on the train with me. Somehow, without hearing footsteps or the rustle of clothing, he had gotten on and was now sitting several rows behind me. I could see his reflection in the window, those black eyes still fixed on me. I tried to tell myself this was just a coincidence, that he was just another late commuter. The train passed my usual stop without slowing down. Then it passed the next stop and the next. I pressed the request button, but nothing happened. The train just kept going, deeper into tunnels I'd never seen before. I was trapped in here with him, and no one knew where I was. I finally worked up the courage to turn around and face him directly. His skin was translucent, almost blue under the lights. When he smiled at me, his teeth were yellowed and sharp. He raised one pale hand and pointed directly at me, mouthing words I couldn't hear over the clatter of the train. Suddenly, all the lights went out. Emergency lighting bathed everything in a red glow, and in that crimson darkness, I watched him stand up and start walking toward me. His footsteps made no sound, but I could feel the air getting colder with each step he took in my direction. The train screeched to a halt at a station I'd never seen before. The platform outside was cracked and covered in grime, like it hadn't been used in decades. The doors opened, and he gestured for me to get off. I had no choice. As I stepped onto the platform, I heard him whisper something behind me that made my blood freeze. He whispered, "Welcome home." When I turned around, he was gone, and so was the train. I've been walking through these tunnels for what feels like hours, but I can't find any exit. My phone still has no signal, and I'm starting to think that maybe I never got off that platform. Maybe I never got on that train at all.